Welcome back to the next set of notes. Today we're going to go over word problems from lessons 2.2 and 2.3. So let's go ahead and go look at example 3 in 2.2. It says that a circuit overloads at 1800 watts of electricity. A key word here is it does say at 1800 watts of electricity. So anything that hits that or greater will overload that circuit. Next, it says you plug a microwave in that uses 1100 watts of electricity into the circuit. So part A, write and solve an inequality that represents how many watts you can add to the circuit. And then the key here is without overloading the circuit. So here's a little blueprint. We know we have a microwave. Okay, we have the microwave. And what we want to do is we want to add something else, but we have to stay under that maximum that allows it to overload. So I'm going to, under this next part here, actually solve part A. So part A, the microwave is 1,100 watts. And we want to add some more, so maybe W for wattage. And that has to stay under 1,800 because at 1,800 we overload the circuit. So when we solve this, so subtract 1,100, we get that the wattage that we can add to it has to stay less than 700 watts. Okay, so less than 700 watts. Part B says, in addition to the microwave oven, which of the following appliances can you plug into the circuit at the same time without overloading it? Now, the key here would be at the same time as the microwave. Okay, so if you have to stay under 700, let's first look at the toaster. If it says under 700, the toaster's at 800, which means that's too big. So let's cross that one off. The hot plate, if we look at the hot plate, 1,200 isn't less than 700, so we can cross that off. So the two that we could do at the same time, maybe even together, is the blender and the clock radio. So part B would be the blender and clock radio. All right, now there is an on your own that you can do right here. On your own, number 7 says the microwave oven uses only 1,000 watts of electricity. Does this allow you to have both the microwave oven and the toaster plugged in the same circuit at the same time? Go ahead and pause the video, figure that out, and then unpause it and come back, and then we will go over if you can or if you cannot. So 3, 2, 1, go. Now that you're back, let's think of the microwave plus the toaster has to be less than 1,800. Here the microwave you should have said was 1,000. The toaster oven was 800. Is that less than 1,800? No, it's actually the same as 1,800 because the circuit breaker actually trips or overloads at that. Because we have this less than symbol and not an equal to, the answer would be no. All right, next, let's go ahead and move on to next part of our notes, which will be example 3 in our 2.3 notes. So go ahead and move over to example 3 in the 2.3 notes. In this problem, it says you earn $9.50 per hour at your summer job. Write and solve an inequality that represents the number of hours you need to work to buy a digital camera that costs $247. Now, if it costs $247, you have to make that much. So it has to be this or more. That's how much you have to make. This or more is what you need to make. So $9.50 times every hour has to be compared to $247. Now you want to have that, which is equal to or more than that. You can't have less than that. So there's our setup. And when we divide both sides by $9.50, you get that H has to be greater than or equal to 26 hours. So you have to have 26 hours or more is how much you need to work. 26 hours or more. Now, there is an on your own here. On your own number 11 says you have at most $3.65 to make copies. Each copy costs 25 cents, right? And solve an inequality that represents the number of copies you can make. And then there's one more on your own, which is number 12, that talks about the maximum speed limit for a school bus. So go ahead, pause the video, and then when you're done, unpause it, and we will go over these two to see how you did. So 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome back from doing those on your own. So on your own number 11, you should set this up at 25 cents, so 0.25 times every copy. So you see, since you have $3.65, you can't spend more than that, so you have to stay less than that or equal to it. So when you divide, you should have got that C is less than or equal to 14.6 copies. Now, because you can't make 0.6 of a copy, that means you have to do 14 or less copies. So let's think about the real world. You're not going to make a 0.6 of a copy. So you have enough money to do 14 or less copies. Now let's look at on your own number 12 here. So on your own number 12, the maximum speed limit, don't forget here, distance equals rate times time is what you're probably going to be using here. So your rate is 55 miles per hour. So there's your 55, but you don't know what the time is. So there's your T. Now it does say that it takes 165 miles in a school bus. That's your distance, okay? So right and solve inequality represents the number of hours it takes to travel 165 miles in a school bus. Now it does say the maximum speed limit. So if that's the fastest you can go, that means it might take longer. So the time might take longer if you go slower. So that's why the time side is going to have a greater than equal to symbol in terms of it's getting eaten, which really is going to be read as distance is less than 55 times t. So instead of the distance here, you should have put in 165. So when you solve, you should have got that 3 is less than or equal to t, or you could have said t is greater than or equal to 3. That means 3 or more hours. So if they drive less than 55 miles an hour, that's going to take more than 3 hours. All right, those are your notes for today. If you have any questions, please reach out. If not, we'll see you here at the next set of notes.